Hello, everyone. Hello. Hello. Hi. Hi, everybody out there in TV land. How's it going? How are you? How are things on at your end of the void? Good stuff. Where you? Nothing going on? Nothing much on you guys? Waiting to see if a few people show up. Doing a little dungeon stuff. Nice and moody. Little arrangements. It's pretty nice. Chill. There it is. Hey Trudy. How's it going? See here. Quick updates. Let me think. Yeah, just had more conversations with my psych about my psychologist, not my psychiatrist, about just how much trouble I have in the summer, extra trouble, and she wanted to see and get to the bottom more of why this particular season bothers me. And, like right now, things aren't like that bad, right, in my life. Like on a I guess how do I put it? Like on a more practical level, right? Like I've gone through much worse, and so yeah, like I'm money's okay right now because the job I'm doing right now is paying better, and so things on that front are okay. Not ideal, but a lot better in some respects. Moving along, certain things have been trying to move along, but it's still taking forever. But still, it seems to be going okay. Like my stress levels haven't been like super crazy or anything. But I don't know. It's just this season just drains my energy and depresses the shit out of me. Um, I was trying to, like I said, I was trying to figure that out with my psych, and I don't know. I don't think I talked about this, but yeah, it's not just the heat and humidity and everything else. Like it just constantly reminding me of my body and me having sort of a tenuous relationship with having having one because it just doesn't let me get the things done that I want to get done, like things like it needing sleep, things like that. It's really annoying. But but the more psychological aspects of why summer brings out the worst in me. And it was interesting because we kind of were talking about how basically I have no positive memories of summer, even as a child, like none, zero. I think oftentimes summer is associated with good times, maybe for a lot of people, or nice memories. Maybe going with friends or the family or theme parks or the beach and all kinds of stuff like that. That's what I'm guessing. Same. Sometimes I think if shit is practically going moderately, I get black. It's cold out here. I feel my body in the cold. Yeah. Yeah, I can do that too, I'm sure. I like the way my body feels in the cold. It's just something not as bad. But yeah, it was nothing but memories of being forced to do all sorts of things, like social gatherings, Little League Baseball, Boy Scouts, um, theme parks, birthday parties, being told that it's summer, go outside, go play with friends, all this sort of stuff. Um, just all kinds of things, and not none of them were positive. Like nothing about any of those memories are positive. They're all negative or neutral. A lot of them were negative because it was like I would dread summer because it was just mean a bunch of stuff's gonna happen that I'm gonna have to be a part of and do with because family. That's what you do. Since I hated the actual weather and how it felt, it would just stress me out, bring me down. It made other things that would already cause me annoyance, frustration, and uh, blatantly, or not blatantly, but like, yeah, I mean, it was some of that stuff for me was traumatic. And then you combine some of these weird traumatic events and with like eats and I don't know. We're just talking about how like the way my body feels during the summer, maybe in some respect or another, reminds me of how I felt as a kid and a teen during that same time. So, this idea that like there's some kind of a subconscious reminder of a lot of bad summers, and then it makes my body or my mind remember them in some unconscious way or something. I don't know. But when I was talking to my psych about that, like I started just getting this feeling of just a lot of discomfort thinking about it that way, because like it just felt like it was kind of true. I had a lot, yeah, I was forced to do all kinds of things, like go to Boy Scouts, go hiking. The summer meant more Boy Scout stuff, more sports stuff, more social. Like it was just the worst. And the funny part too is that my birthday is August 18th, and it's still very hot. It's still very summer during that time, and so there's also like disappointment associated with it, because a lot of the times I would ask for like a particular thing that I wanted, and that was all I wanted. I could care less if I didn't have a party or anything else. I just wanted this thing, whatever it may be. And it would be rare for that to be the case. I would get multiple things from different people, multiple things maybe from my parents, but ultimately it would rarely ever be what I actually had been asking for. It would be some like accumulation of other things that would probably add up to the price of one or two of the things I wanted. So I usually didn't really look forward to many of my gifts. There was times where I got it right, and that was good. And then having a birthday party was never something I wanted. It's not something I enjoyed. Generally, I just wanted to get the one thing that I wanted and then just enclose myself in the room. So yeah, it's a weird set of months for me. It makes the symptoms of issues I have like just that much worse. So yeah. Anyway, if you're wondering, oh, why is Angst lagging it today? Well, it's because it's hot in here. It's humid. It's hot. I sometimes get like a heat rash right here in the pit of my elbow. It just bugs the shit out of me. Not much I can do about it. It's like an eczema kind of thing, I think. I don't know. But the other reason too I'm lagging is because I didn't really get any submissions. That's hence the name of the stream. Um, yeah. I thought it was an interesting question. I guess it wasn't, or I don't know, circumstances. Hair clips and undies. Yeah, I was one of those kids that hated getting clothes for Christmas or for birthday. People would just give me clothes. I'd just be like, I guess I need new clothes because in my mind, I was just like, I already have clothes. I didn't care for more of them. I guess I'm older, so I got taller or something. I don't know. Yeah. So sorry. Man, I gotta figure something out. Want to like how to like counter the summer shit because it just makes me lousy. I start feeling a little better once like 9 o'clock rolls in, because by then the temperature goes down and the humidity starts letting up. You just say summer doesn't mean the same thing in Australia. Days are a bit shorter in the winter, and I'm feeling old. Time flying by. I'm thinking depressing thoughts of my future. Oh, sure do. Yeah, I don't know that I think depressing thoughts about my future. I think depressing thoughts about um, everyone's future. Not everyone. Just a lot of futures, a lot of possibilities, a lot of weird concerns, stuff like that. I hate that summer makes me inefficient and drowsy. I hate that I think at the core of it, I think the core of it, even if I connected back to what I was saying a little bit ago about the bad memories and the way like my body feels like it's just betraying me with its reaction to all this heat and such. The weather, which I can't do anything about. The AC I could turn on in the other room, but I don't have one for this room. Um, but even if I had one, I couldn't afford to just be running it all day, right? All these things are like reminders of my lack of choice, my lack of autonomy. I think that's kind of, for the schizoid, that's what it really comes down to. It's this discomfort or aversion, to say the least, but mildly, um, to anything and everything and anyone that wishes to manipulate, control, deficit your autonomy. And when things I have zero control that affect me, um, I'm constantly reminded of that. It gets to me. It really does get to me. Very, very wholeheartedly. It gets to me pretty bad. And I think that's kind of what it is with summer. There's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing I could have done when I was growing up about going to those places, being forced to partake in these social things, having no interest in them, proclaiming my lack of interest, receiving judgment and punishment and reprimands for expressing myself. Honestly, my inability to control any of that, to do anything about it. Everything about summer deeply reminds me of that very thing. I think that's probably like the best way I can put it. Summer reminds me of how little control I have over the goings on of my own life and the choices that I make. Yeah. And reminders like that, you know, they don't do wonders for my mental health. They definitely do not do them. Anyway, stuck in bed under blanket pile till late in the day, and back in bed early. Cuts life shorter. I have no money for heating. Oh, true. Oh, I guess we're on just separate boats there. I think it's like a sort of reverse seasonal affective disorder or something. I don't know. I'm not too sure. It's everything. I actually like, another thing I was telling my psych, I like fall and winter weather because I like the muted colors. Right? I like colors to be muted. I like brightness to be dimmer. I like colder weather. I like the breeze, even when it gives you a shiver. I like the color of the trees, not green, but brown, sometimes yellows and oranges. I like that better. I like the smell, fall and winter. So many things. And they're just gone. They're gone for a portion of the year. So much. That stuff brings me a little solace. But there's none to find. The world might have it. I don't know. Nature set against me. If anybody wants to jump in, you're more than welcome to, by the way. So, remember with my streams, yeah, you're never going to know. You're never going to know what kind of angst you're going to get. Sometimes you'll get a very feisty and spirited one. Sometimes you'll get this is. Sometimes you'll get just some mediocre in between shit. I don't know. Sorry. Told you, it's spacing out like crazy. What's going on here? I'll just jump on. Hey, Mortis. How's it going? Oh, wait, I'm deafened. Oh. There we go. Hey, Mortis. I can hear you now.
Evening. So you're spacing out like crazy, huh?
Yeah, I'm just like, yeah, it's just like, it just, everything. And that's what I hate. What I hate is that, like, a lot of this is because of summer. Because like things, like I was saying, things in my life aren't going as horrible as they were at other points in the last couple of years. Right now, things are somewhat stable. Yet I feel it's like this unease and stress.
On.
Yeah.
I won't say I envy you, but what I will say is it has just been one of those weeks, and for that matter, one of those months, I think, for most people.
For most people? Why do you think most people?
Well, I can personally attest that it has absolutely been one of those months in my case.
Oh. Yeah, I could see
And
that.
to go a step further than that, that seems to be a much more widespread thing, at least in this area.
Where you live, you mean? It's been a tough month?
Yes. That's a very common theme around here.
Interesting. What's made the month tough on a more, I guess, not universal level, but like a more locally universal level?
That is an excellent question, and if I could muster up the effort required to care enough to ask about other people's lives, I might have an answer for you.
Fair enough.
However, it's taken all of my energy just to, like, keep myself functional, to be perfectly honest with you. So,
That's fair. That's fair. I know that feeling. So yeah, relatable. Yeah, I see. I had a question for this week, like I usually do on Saturday, but I don't know. I guess it was I put it up kind of late, so that's my fault. And then I guess it wasn't like a very good question. Because I think
so
I got like 2 responses, and then I
oh,
posted it. I posted it again in like a more, I don't know. I thought it was a little more concise, maybe not. And yeah, it just wasn't a good question, I guess, or maybe it has been a weird week or month for some people. I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe something is going on. Because I thought it would be a fairly easy question.
I know for a fact that I completely missed it myself until I saw you streaming. So, you did get a very late answer just then.
Oh, interesting.
Just
I'm
because
wondering
it has been that kind of week. So,
yeah.
truthfully, it's entirely possible that just like no one has noticed it or no one has remembered.
Maybe. I mean, I literally ping when I do the question. I ping at schizoid. So basically, anyone that's schizoid, unless they have their notification muted, which is high likelihood.
To be fair, I get the pings myself. I look at the pings. I go to look at the question, and then if I don't answer it right, then I forget.
Yeah, that's probably what happens. That's why I usually like I like to put it on Wednesday, and then on Friday I ping a little reminder, not to add schizoid at that point, but like to some of the people that are more actively following me, because a lot of people don't know that there is, because it's not really discussed a lot, but if you go to rules, you can actually take the role of Angst news, and that'll basically let you know whenever I'm streaming, because I'll just ping it on the server if you're schizoid on there. Everyone else just has to rely on the YouTube or Twitch notifications, depending on where they're following or subbed or what have you. But yeah, the question I put down this time, I'll read, like, I guess the simpler or more like less rambly one, because I think that the original was a little more rambly and incoherent than what I put out again. What I said was, how often do you predict negative outcomes regarding situations others make around you, and you end up being right? Do you try to warn others, or do you just let it play out? That was my question. Like, so to put it, simply, like, how often do you call shit that you're like, no, well, this is probably going to happen again? Whether it's a peer or somebody you're around a lot, or a family member, or even a local event. Bigger scale stuff can somewhat count too, but it only really counts if you called it like way in advance. Then I would say, yeah, I get that. But as far as even on a more local level, like, that's what I was curious about. Because I just imagine there's so many, when I see a lot of schizoids talking, on what the fuck? Why this move over here? Sorry. When I see schizoids talking a lot about their lives and the people around them, there's always like there's always the same kind of complaints always happening, or not, or issues, and that's always this like sort of why do people do this? Why do they behave like this? Why do they act like this? I knew this was going to happen. Why didn't I learn? Why are people like this? Why did I, do something because I wanted to help, and then ultimately people don't listen, don't care, keep repeating the same mistakes, and then they're like, well, then I keep repeating the same mistake of attempting to help somebody from repeating the same mistake. And things like that. And it's also part of the reason why we have like a aversion to certain types of risks, because for one, there's probably going to be very little reward for it, and two, it's just noticing specific patterns of behavior that seem to repeat themselves. But watching people around you behave as if that's normal and occurring and merely a part of how existence should or must function around them, it's just like, huh. Right, and then and then it fucks with your with your ability to sympathize as well, because say someone, your family member, a sibling is just they say, oh, so this is so terrible, I don't know why I did this or that, and it's so awful. You tell them, okay, well then just don't do that, do this instead, or just avoid that entirely, because obviously it brings you great harm or emotional distress, and then it just gets repeated again. It just happens, and then you can see when it's gonna happen, when it does, and then at some point you stop saying entirely.
Yeah, not gonna lie, I can't help but feel slightly as though personally responsible for this particular question.
What? No, that's not you. How?
I'm sure it's not, but also can't help but feel that way given how many times I'm not going to say outright, said this myself in one of several channels.
Oh.
But I can't exactly give any further.
Okay, that's fine. Well,
I can't exactly give any further examples because I will absolutely accidentally dox myself in the process. So
yeah, no, absolutely. No, it's just the issue is you can't blame yourself for this one because it wasn't anything.
To be clear, I'm very, very aware that it's almost certainly not specifically because of me. Just strange coincidences.
You put out that energy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like the number of times I myself have brought up something that's just, hey, am I the dumbass here, or am I correctly calling the dumbass here?
Yeah, but then you feel like a dumbass for attempting to improve someone else's station in life. And then having like this impulse or urge to occasionally do that, and then the feeling stupid for caring, feeling stupid for attempting any kind of harm mitigation.
Yep.
And then it comes with like this sort of frustration. And I've said this to someone, but like I in fact I think because of my level of sort of negativity about outcomes and a variety of things, I like being wrong. I think that's when it's nice, because I'm always going to assume the worst in a lot of cases, and when I'm wrong, it's when I'm pleasantly surprised and happy about it.
That's a fun little rationalization that most people don't understand. On that note, I've noticed.
Like I like it because
If you intentionally skew your perception to even just to say -1 or -2 instead of neutral or positive, worst case scenario, exactly what you expected was going to happen. Best case scenario, you're pleasantly surprised because you were wrong and the anticipated did not happen.
Yeah, and it's nice. It's nice when things are unpredictable. It's nice when things are like that. You get a good little feeling out of it. There's so much, I don't know, a lot of stuff seems pretty predictable. Even like
I've
on a
tried
more
to
mental
explain
level.
I've tried to explain that rationalization to others, and no one ever seems to understand it. And so it's interesting to find someone else who actually does.
I'm pretty sure a lot of schizoids can. It's not that.
Oh, to be fair, given some of the discussions I've had and been a part of, I'm sure that most probably understand that, but
Yeah, probably to some degree.
it's comparatively rare, just out and about.
So weird. But like it's kind of like that's why in the original question, the original version of the same question I'd asked, does it bring you vindication, disappointment? I almost never feel vindicated because of it. I could see how there could be, and I could see. I think in my youth, I might have, when I was far more misanthropic, actively misanthropic. But now it just kind of fills me with sort of regret and just kind of somber feeling of like powerless resignation. Like I guess like it's just it's that feeling of again, okay, one more thing that I have absolutely no control over, and could in some ways, because especially depending on the proximity of the individual and the actions they're doing, could affect me. And because it affects me, it's something I can't control because it's a decision they made. Then again, the autonomy feels like it takes a blow. And my defenses and my aversion to such a feeling causes a large amount of distress in my mind.
I will say, I have only pulled the I told you so card twice, I think, in total, and only when it was a super, super huge catastrophic I told you so.
I don't think I do the I told you so very much. I know a lot of people that do them.
I have twice, and that I remember, and both times it was a case of, okay, so anyone who thought about this for 3 seconds could have seen this coming. How did you not?
Yeah.
It has already bitten us all in the ass. How did you not see that coming? If you had thought about this plan for 3 seconds, you would have realized that it was fine on paper, but not at all in practice.
Yeah, well, maybe it's thinking about it parts is difficult.
Believe me, I'm very well acquainted with that. And again,
Yeah,
I have to be kind of careful because
yeah.
I'm going to accidentally out myself. So
No, you're good. I used to get angry at that stuff. I think when I was younger, I used to get like a lot angrier, frustrated, and angst filled when it came to things like that. Whether it was on a local or on a bigger scale, like my school, my city, or even bigger, obviously. But it was. But now like I said, it just fills me with like melancholy. Like it's tiresome. It's tiresome. And it's sort of like, if you're talking about like on a bigger scale, it's oftentimes that feeling of like, it gets memed about often of like like, oh, this is an awkward timeline, you know, that we're in. Very strange. Because there's just so much like just weird weird goofy shit just sort of popping up all over the place all the time. Um, and when like for me like a lot of the bigger stuff it like affects me mentally. It actually like stresses me out and bothers me. Um, like I mean I guess like a prime like it was just I guess a big example because it's something that I think impacted a significant amount of people psychologically, whether they're well aware of it or not. Like it to me, it was just so nuts to not just have what everyone's talking about, you know, the whole assassination attempt, but then that you have this, you know, issue with the that happened recently with the airports and a variety of computers and systems going down for almost a day. You have, you know, all this crazy shit happened in Bangladesh.
Slightly tangential to the CrowdStrike thing.
Mm-hmm.
I have a favorite quote now.
Oh, what's that?
Or rather, my favorite quote has been changed.
Oh, all right.
Guess,
what's your current?
let me go see if I can find it here.
Oh, all right. I'll wait for that.
I want to make certain that I'm actually getting it correct here. Ah, there we go. There it is. Mr. Troy Hunt.
What was it?
Mr. Troy Hunt is a security consultant.
Uh-huh.
Quote, "This is basically what we were all worried about with Y2K, except it's actually happened this time."
Yeah, that's pretty funny. And that was 24 years ago, 23 and change. But yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty humorous. And well, I guess it happened, and we're still here. So
Yep.
that
Indeed.
much. So all that big hubbub, I was alive for that 2000 shit. I was like I don't know how old was I? I would have been I don't know, like I don't know 12 or something, 13, 11. I don't know. Yeah, I remember that. We were in Vegas at the time.
This is officially my new favorite quote, though, because of that.
That's pretty funny. I don't know why it's a favorite, but can you care to explain why it's such a favorite?
Just because it is amusing.
Okay, well, there you go.
As one who was born prior to the Y2K scare, but was not old enough to have actually, at the time, dealt with it.
Yeah.
But who has at this point now lived through several, quote, end of the world scares.
Mm-hmm.
This one amuses me most in particular for one reason and one reason only.
What's that?
The fact that all of this stemmed from someone having a, number one, bad update, but more importantly, the reason that it happened, and that it happened so simultaneously across as many locations as it did, is because this is yet another instance of cloud hosting failure.
Okay, yeah. I was reading about that.
The entire thing is an entirely cloud-hosted platform.
Mm-hmm.
So when this update got pushed to that cloud server, what ended up happening was, of course, at that point, it pushed the update to everything else.
Yeah.
Thus, speed of network transmission, everything all dies at once.
Yeah,
rather than them having to ping their server and say, "Hey, can I update this thing?"
I was mostly concerned when they had mentioned that hospitals and stuff were affected. I'm like, dude.
Oh yeah, no, the ripples from this are going to be being felt for years.
Like, I'm just wondering, like, how many people are gonna die because of that? Like, because like it's just some shit went wrong. Somebody got the wrong thing. Somebody's with some surgery, somebody that was somehow their life support's affected. Like it's just stuff like that is like the first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah, no, it is
Yeah,
absolutely a
economic
tragedy.
impact, like on various small businesses, like um, you know, it's just it's pretty rough. And then also one of the things that sucks, because if you're talking, say, like specific types of remote workers, a lot of them are like contracted, so like they lost a chunk of money there for the day. Um,
This is
yeah,
also very true.
yeah, because and then the Bangladesh thing, just like I don't know, it just fucked with me. I was watching a video of like um, the student riots, and as they call them, all the shit going on over there, and all over, well, mostly over. I think there's a lot of unrest in general in India for a variety of reasons, but all over, something called, I guess, um, a quota system for public services jobs of any kind. And apparently, like 30% of public services jobs have to be given to the veterans of some Bangladeshi people war. Like, not the veterans, but the family members of the veterans. So there's all this like really weird uh, nepotism, and there's like so many students over there, and like there's just like not enough jobs in a variety of sectors. But to know that there's like entire groups of people that, because of their connection to a military related family, they those people are going to be just fine because they always have access to that 30% exclusively for them of like public service jobs. And then the idea of being a really good at whatever that job may be, and having the credentials, and being having the qualification or exceeding qualifications is irrelevant when it comes to that 30%. Because even if you are the most qualified, you won't be able to get that job if like all the seats are filled and it's just 30% sitting there unavailable to you, regardless of how much work you put in and how much you need the money. And then they shut down they shut down the internet over there. That was like yesterday. I think I don't know what the current situation is, but was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday, but it was still ongoing. But they shut down the internet, so a lot of people in India basically couldn't make phone calls. They couldn't connect online. A lot of people living in the States and in Europe that have tons of family in India, like they couldn't make any phone calls to them to see if they were okay. This shit was getting crazy. They implemented a curfew. There was people getting shot and dying. Like, it's just a lot of weird stuff. And then you throw in there like all that usual weird caste system-y shit. Like, and then with the Trump thing, it was just like, man, it's just like the whole people just acting really gross all the time, weird. Like, it happens or whatever, and like, I have social media just because like I like to keep up to date with a few things, and also because like I have this platform, so I have somewhere I can DM with people that I want to get into contact with on there, like on X or Twitter or whatever, and I'll see all these people like that I was following for other reasons, like dropping like the most insane takes, and I'm like, oh, Christ, like it's just like there's just all this weird tribalism, and no thinking at all. And it was just funny because it's like the moment I found out about the assassination attempt with I don't know, like the moment they reported it, however long it was after, and online I had heard like little whispers because I guess it went along the grapevine pretty quick, but um, I like saw that reaction coming, all that gross shit that I saw after. I was just like, the moment I heard and I confirmed that it occurred, I was like, oh Christ, this is how people are gonna be about it, huh? And then just to see it happen and play out like that, it's just always just so tiresome. Just weird. It's weird. Like, there's no discussion of like, instead of having a discussion on like like the legitimate dangers that something of that nature poses, to, you know, just sort of the fabric of society that is on a sort of dismal plane at the moment for a variety of ways and variety of reasons, and to not realize like this is a sign of like of what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to exaggerate and I don't want to use the word collapse or anything. That's fucking absurd. But it's cohesion, incohesion, lack of cohesion. Like it's just more stuff that like I'm thinking, oh cool, like how bad are things gonna get? I have kids, I have a wife, I have these goals, I have these people I care about, I have these goals for these other things, these other problems, and then like I get really kind of discouraged because I'm just thinking in my head, oh cool, like even if I like fight for the schizoid stuff, and if I, you know, try to have the conversations online with people I want to have them with, if I try to like, you know, inspire a few Zoids out there, like I get like I get this sort of like discouragement of, and I get over it, but I get this discouragement of just like, oh cool, like I'm gonna help the Zoids only for them to like, I don't know, be you know, blown to smithereens or shot or stabbed on the subway train, blown up by a domestic terrorist. Like,
I would say collapse is a good word, but is it possible deterioration was the word you were looking for?
thank you, deterioration. There you go. And it's just like so weird because, like, you just you know about the cynicism that's going to like be implemented, and it was. And sometimes that cynicism, like that understanding of cynicism, it brings me some weird comfort because, like, for example, I know people that are like really, really worried and freaked out about a lot of this, like, you know, AI being involved in the creative world, and you know the consequences of that, and the consequences of you know, having essentially unconsensually have their art be used to feed, you know, an algorithm, a data set, you know, in this sort of you know, intellectual property destroying ways or whatever, as some people may say. Like, I just think, oh, okay, well, the only reason I don't think it's going to get that crazy, we're not going to hit some weird like post reality world, because you know people are just going to be uploading, you know, like impossible, like just impossible to disprove like footage of whatever the fuck they want, and so you know there's going to have to be this weird reliance on like official sources, because you know they're going to basically use the fact that anything can be created in any way, in any form, on somebody's PC as a reason for why you need like regulated sources, right? And that's like the big concern for some people, some of the schizos out there like me. But what suits me is like this, just how cynical and gross individuals are, especially when put in the position of power. And I know that I can't imagine a situation in which, you know, a female politician gets put into like just crazy amounts of deep fakes or something, or male politicians, you know, being put in similar types of things for, you know, political reasons, or to like during election season and everything like that. So I just started thinking, okay, so if that stuff starts happening, if it starts affecting, election polls and like, all these like false videos and so on and so forth that are tricking like older people that don't know how this stuff works or any of that stuff, it's going to be regulated, right? It's just not going to be able to run rampant because it's going to negatively impact the lives of people in power, people of great wealth. They're going to be negatively impacted by it. And once they become that negatively impacted by it, they're going to, grab it by the reins. But then you get the other consequence, right? If such an ability is available, it's only going to be available to them. So then that's going to stifle anyone's ability to cause paradigm shifts of any kind in the future. So that's worrying. So like so my concern with like that matter is if I'm right, then we eventually lose, but it'll take longer. If I'm wrong, things just get worse faster. So that's slower.
A lose-lose situation either way. Yep.
Yeah. But I'm irrational. I'm an irrational person with irrational beliefs about when it comes to like attempting to do my part, even if it's just on a more local level with people I know or the small community or whatever you want to call it that I've sort of helped put together along with some great folks. And like I still want to like do my part to like maybe make the world a little less insane in even my own small, very small sector of influence.
Occasionally, rationality is in fact a good thing and can lead to discoveries that otherwise rational thoughts wouldn't.
Yeah, correct.
So,
but also like I don't care. Like it's irrational. Like I just like it's sort of like I have every reason to believe that things are going to get really bad, and
yep.
I still don't care, and I'm going to do things that I think are good.
Slight digression also, and circling back to an earlier topic.
Yeah.
I very strongly suspect that it is in fact just one of those weeks by the fact that only you and I are in here.
Yeah, maybe. Usually there'll be like at least 2 other people. Shadow for sure.
Given that Shadow is not in here and that there has thus far been no one else join, and even that it took me, 10 or so minutes to join, yeah. I suspect that it is just one of those weeks.
Yeah, also the viewership's a little, it might just be because of the low energy and the depressing tone, but
well, I will say one of those 2 viewers you currently have on Twitch is me just watching chat, so.
No, that's perfectly fine, but I have like 10 on YouTube.
Okay.
But usually we'll be hitting like 16, 17 total between them most Saturdays. But just
I have a sneaking suspicion that it. Yeah. I have a sneaking suspicion that it is just.
Yeah, but what does that mean, right? I think it could be that like all these kind of tumultuous things are having some kind of impact in a variety of ways on like different people at different levels, and it has kind of psychological ripple effects.
I would not doubt it. I'm sure that's part of what's going on.
Yeah, it reminded me. Okay, I know this is like a nerdy reminder, and this is like a spoiler for those that don't watch the show, but the assassination attempt reminded me of something. It reminded me of in that show that's very popular at the moment, and I watch it especially because my wife likes it. I enjoy watching it. Is House of the Dragon, and in House of the Dragon, if you don't want to know, just leave for 5 minutes or something, or just mute for 5 minutes. In House of the Dragon, in the current episode, or the last episode that was out, it doesn't really give away too much, but there's a scene where, well, it kind of does, never mind, unless you know about the book. But there's a scene where a particular severed dragon head is being rolled into like a very populated area, and it's being rolled in, and the people who were responsible or involved in the beheading of this majestic beast, majestic is a bad word, right? But yes, we're kind of like parading it in a way, right? Like as a victory symbol. And one of the characters was like looking around, and you know they're saying, "Oh, this is the head of the dragon that belongs to so and so, you know, traitor person." And if you know anything about that lore, that world, the only people in their world that can ride dragons are a particular family called the Targaryens. And they're essentially, in this world, this family bloodline, they're essentially seen like gods in many ways, right? Unquestionable, like, aristocracy, because they have basically they're the only ones with the equivalent of a nuke, or have access to controlling these nukes, these flying nukes, essentially. And so when the head rolls in, and all the people, all the peasants, and all the people see the severed head, all they see is like a horrifying element, right? All they see is like these things that they previously thought were invincible are in fact quite mortal. These things that also were used in the implementation of supposedly protecting their own world, their own sort of bubble of reality and how it functions. You just sort of pop that, and then people parading it are so out of touch with people on the ground that they thought it was going to be seen as this great thing. Right? And it's more like oh, hey guys, we won the first you know, like say you had like a nuclear missiles, and then you had like defense systems up. It's like saying like, oh yeah, we're the first. We've been launching nukes at each other, and we previously thought these defense systems were invincible, but no, we discovered how to breach theirs, and we safely landed a nuke against the enemy country. Like, all you're gonna hear is, oh shit, they're starting to figure out how to breach these things. When is the enemy gonna do that? When is our defense system gonna fail? And so yeah, so that's kind of what it reminded me of this like weird sort of, and I know it's kind of absurd in some ways, but it's this weird sort of feeling of a catalyst has been kind of implemented of some kind. Like I don't know if you heard, but like yeah, there's places that are being like, you know, there's like service jobs that are being cautioned more. There's like a lot more tension in a variety of both political sectors, government, federal sectors. It's just in the way humans, because of the cynicism, I have great faith in that they possess a lot of people out there. It's going to allow for a ton of exploitable opportunities, and it's just so fucking weird. And being the schizo I am, like, I just, like, it sucks because I have, like, real world things going on, right? I have, well, real life, IRL, whatever. Immediate life. I'm not even calling it real world. Like, I have my kids to worry about. I have a job to keep track of and do well at. And there's a lot of stress going on there, too. There's, like, stress at my job and things like that. But, like, like I'm over here like thinking about all this other stuff and just being so just affected by it um, personally that I feel like my energy and ability to function on a more local level in my media life is being impacted significantly. So, but I don't know. I don't know if that would make sense to like the non-schizo peeps out there. How much like this sort of stuff can. It's like, oh, what does that have to do with you? And it's like that's not. It didn't happen in your country, or it didn't happen in this part, or that thing didn't happen here. And
I have tried to explain a similar concept to those who I know not to be. One of them understood it. The rest did not.
yeah, it's just so weird. They only understand once it's at their doorstep. I don't.
Anecdotally speaking, yeah. I will agree. Anecdotally speaking, I will absolutely agree. That is not a commonly understood.
It's always at the doorstep.
Thing.
It's so weird to me. Like that's so unfathomable. I can never say that word. But it's so just I can't understand how it always has to get to that point. It always has to be at the doorstep. And I'm not an alarmist either. I really am not.
Likely part of it is just that for the most part, I think those who haven't ever necessarily had to look out for advance warning signs quite that far in advance of something aren't accustomed to doing so, and thus either ignore them or just don't notice them even when they're pointed out.
I don't know. I think a lot of it has to do with like a very strong lack of metacognition. That obviously it's just not a skill set that's taught because it would be detrimental to people in positions of power if most humans actually had like higher metacognitive capacities. So it's just really weird that I would see people posting, like in the case of the assassination attempt, I just see people posting like, "Oh man, 1 inch away, yeah." Like, that's all right, and then other people like, "Oh, this means war," or some shit. Like, what is this cartoon? And then other people are arguing about like, no, think about the family, because there was like one guy that died there. He literally, like, from what the reporting says, he jumped on top of his wife and older daughter and got shot and died, like covering them, like as the shots were being fired, and one hit him. And so like I go, there's people talking about how, oh, that's a real patriot, blah blah blah. I'm like, what? And then other people saying, oh, he's a MAGA chud. He got what he deserved. And I'm like, what? Hold on, my daughter just shut up.
It's all good. That's one of the lovely things about having small children around, or just children, period. My niece and nephew do that to me quite often, which is part of the reason that I don't really join frequently. I will say, my theory is, I think, being bolstered by the fact that we have been an additional 10 minutes since the last comment about there not being anyone here, and there is still not anyone else here. I feel like this may just be a rest week for most people, a rest and recuperation week.
Yeah. Back, I could hear you, so it's just my daughter being wacky bananas as usual. I love it. But yeah, like I'm seeing those types of responses, from like so many people, even people that like I thought I respected like intellectually, like because I had like takes on a lot of stuff, but I was like, I respect that. That's a good. And even people like that were saying things like that. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, what is this shit? Um, like nobody's seeing any kind of the horrific nature of what that kind of stuff could have caused, right? Like it
Mm-hmm.
was just like they think, oh, the bad guy or whatever would have been dead. Yay! And I'm like, what kind of fucking weird ass dreamland do you live in? Like,
Yeah, not
um,
the real case of, okay, so whatever happened here for whatever reason, with whatever cause, however it happened,
yes,
does not matter.
yeah, because
This
of what
is
it means, what it means if it had occurred or even that it almost occurred, what it actually means. What
regardless of its outcome, any of the potential explanations are horrifically,
Yeah,
horrifically
they're
bad.
bad. They're bad. Like they're bad, and and so there's a lot of things happening, right, because of it. It's not just, oh, it's going to increase animosity toward groups against each other, whatever. But it's going to also cause institutional decay because there's going to be people already. There's just nonstop talk about, conspiracy about the Secret Service. And I'm not saying there's no truth to it, but just in general, like a lot of the weird shady shit that was going on surrounding it. Everything from the one of the servicemen that was supposed to be up there had called in sick that day to the superior of the guy who got the shot on the um, you know would-be assassin was like he supposedly took the shot against his superior's command to stand down because he had been asking, I guess, to fire the shot, and because of a lack of information, supposedly they told him to wait. But he had been told to wait even after the first shot went out, and he ignored that order because
Yep.
why wouldn't you? And so
There are
it's just like a lot of weird shit. And
there are far too many coincidences
yeah, but
in
that's
it
but
that
my
are
my
not
my,
a good thing.
my problem isn't like, oh no, the government's trying to kill. Yeah, governments
Oh
kill
no, to
tons
be
of
clear, that's
people.
not what I'm
Oh,
saying.
okay, no, I know. I know you're not. But I'm not. The government's been killing people for fucking decades, like a century plus. As far as like, the more modern, like post World War II government in the U.S. and even prior, right, prior to
Mhm.
that, but more actively, secret murders and killing. That's something that I've never. That's an ongoing issue.
Mhm.
But the issue is that these blatant sort of concerns that people are voicing, and it's just causing more, like I said, institutional decay. It's just going to be more people mistrusting everything all the time, and I understand why mistrusting things, if you do it responsibly, can be very good. Caution, but I don't trust the average person to be cautious with their assumptions and the level of paranoia and mistrust that these sort of events can occur in them. Um, because big rock fell, big rock almost fell on Monkey King. Must be the other monkeys. Like, it's not, oh, maybe, it was a natural occurrence because of some shift or some animal knocked into this and then caused the rock to
Maybe
fall.
standing maybe standing at the base of a hill with an active earthquake going
I don't
on
know, or
and
some,
very large rocks at the top isn't smart.
yeah, or something like that. But it's like, no, big rock almost fall on Monkey King. Must be other monkeys. And then you have people on, I guess, what would be whatever the left means anymore, saying that they're doing the crisis actor thing. It's crazy, man. Like they're saying it was a setup, it was a theater, it was like they're like doing like the Sandy Hook thing. They're doing the whole like, oh, nobody actually died and none of this actually happened. It was a setup to like, bolster his presidential run. I'm like, what in the fuck? What the fuck are you talking about? Like, it's just some banana. And I'm talking about like, I guess there's like one particular podcaster that's like really big, and he's like saying stuff like, well, how come they're not putting out the information about what kind of bullet and gun, or this or that? It's like, because it's an ongoing investigation, probably. I'm guessing. It's not because like it was a fake setup theater.
Might not have been found.
It's all, like, it's just so fucked, because then they're essentially doing the whole thing that fucking Jones was doing with Sandy Hook, which was like, now you got like a dead dad and like these other people, and now you got a bunch of people like fucking flooding them on social media, being like, you're a fake family, nobody actually died, you guys are like crisis actors. So like it's just so crazy, because usually the whole crisis actor thing is it's kind of it's on the fringes of like, it's usually considered more like a right-wing fringe kind of like anti-state, like, paranoid of, government overreach like type of stuff. And I get it, I understand that concern as well, but it's weird to hear like what would be considered like, I guess left-wing people doing the crisis actor thing. Like, that's like the pros,
I will
like,
say with regards to that, the U.S. does not even have a left wing. The U.S.'s left wing is mid-right.
Yeah. It's pretty weird. Yeah, that's kind of what I mean. Outreach equals V's equals money.
Right.
Doesn't matter.
Relatively speaking.
Yeah. You're talking about Europe and shit. Yeah.
Well, I mean, relative to the U.S., hearing that from the opposing side is strange, but in reality, like, they're both still, one of them is moderate right, the other one is very, very, very near buffer overflow right. So one could very justifiably still call it a right-wing thing. Yeah. But as far as US goes, no, I agree. It's
No, it's not usually the crisis actor stuff is usually not like coming from
not U.S. left.
Not the U.S. left, yeah. So it's just like, oh, cool. Now everyone's just doing this shit. And so, of course, the meme was I don't remember the guy, but he's like a really big political podcast. People, the meme right now is like, oh, they should, the family of that guy should sue him for billions of dollars, like they did Alex Jones, because Alex Jones lost a ton of money on that Sandy Hook shit. Recently, I think it was like the finally got. Was it last year or something? That should end.
Something like that, yeah. It has been relatively recent, yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, it's just
world state is not good. That's what it boils
weird.
down to.
It's and it affects me. It affects me
real bad.
It affects me a lot. And it's not just because like, oh, I have family and kids. Like, yeah, of course. Like, it's also just because just my brain it just intuitively goes to those places, and I get really disappointed and really sad about like this sort of like seeing potential just squandered and destroyed, and seeing potentialities just float away into the ether, and more conceptually just seeing like just the horrible nature and irony of a bunch of stuff. Like, it has it has an impact on my state of being, like, and it doesn't seem to have an impact on most people until it's at their doorstep, and it's just really weird. It's really weird. Like, because even like a lot of what people call like even some of the memes and whatever about like microplastics and stuff like that, like it's like tongue in cheek because it's like, yeah, this stuff, a lot of stuff's real. It's really, really bad, but what can you do but laugh, right, guys? It's like, yeah, yeah. That's all you can do, guys, huh? Just laugh it off. Yeah, I don't know. But I don't know. I'm stupid. I can't give up on things I care about. So I'm hoping there's some other people out there that'll do the same in their sectors, to evade, at least temporarily, once more of a catastrophe. But I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be the case.
Only time will tell, and unfortunately,
Yeah.
time ain't looking good.
Yeah, it's not looking the best some days. And I've been involved in like a lot of stuff, like as far as paying attention to this kind of shit for years. And I don't really like talking about it too much on these streams because it's not really what the stream's about. Um, but yeah, I just I was hoping to have some stories and stuff. Oh, let me read the ones I got. Shit, I'm running out of time here. I had two. Let me read them.
If you don't have too many, I mean, it's not like this was necessarily wasted time.
Yeah, true. I only have two. And it's not about time being wasted. It's just, I was actually hoping to get some submissions to, well, to see what kind of conversation it might light up. But on a more selfish note, I was hoping to get some submissions to distract myself from all these other
So away
thoughts.
from the discussion we just had.
Yes, to avoid the discussion we just had. Yes. Yes, because it's just it's rough. It's a rough thing. It's a very personal thing for me, even though it sounds like crazy to call it personal, but it is personal to me, and the way I think and the way I experience things.
That's not crazy at all.
Yeah, well, it says the crazy person, right? Kidding. All right, so
Okay. Hey, that's kind of a bit below the belt, that shot. Thank you very much.
No, it's a joke. It's a joke.
Self-admittedly here, you are talking to one of the aliens among the aliens of this server.
Yeah, of course. No, I think there's a lot of aliens on the server that probably agree with some of what we say. So
all I will say to that is one of my recent polls just again showcased this thing that I just said. However, with that said, that was a little bit of a low shot there, not gonna lie.
I'm sorry. That wasn't my intent. I was just self-deprecating and involving you in the process.
Yeah, I know how it goes.
Let me see here. All right, let me start with this one. In regards to the question about basically being able to, whether on a local level or beyond, being able to sort of call things as they kind of maybe do some pessimism or your kind of ongoing ability to observe a cynical network of human behavior, and then being able to call it and then being right about it, like how does that make you feel, and also do you warn people anymore? Do you still attempt to warn people about a mistake they're about to make, or did you give up on that and just let it play out? So let's see here. I got. I don't remember if my calls are mostly accurate, but I'm highly sensitive to mistakes and ways that situations can go wrong. When the consequences are great, I warn people and try to make a difference. Usually, I just leave them be and hope they prove me wrong or learn from the mistake. When none of that happens, I feel disappointed by them and myself. When people respond to my warning with hostility, I feel disappointed by them. When people prove me wrong and manage to diffuse the situation, I feel relieved, stupid, and a bit guilty for putting them through unnecessary doubt if I did. I try to avoid large-scale predictions due to being powerless, ignorant, and not responsible for the consequences. When I do make a large-scale prediction, I do it to navigate myself around them. Yeah, that's usually why I'll do it nowadays, but it's just it still has an impact on me. And I think it's been having more of an impact on me now because of me being able to I guess like overcoming certain aspects of my schizoid PD stuff has made me more sensitive and aware of the things that affect me and how they affect me and stuff like that. So, yeah, it comes with its benefits, but it's also tough because it's harder for me to just sort of dissociate from it. Yeah. So yeah, comes with that. Let's see here. I have long since quit trying to warn others that their ideas have holes in them. Given how rarely others listen, I'm historically pointed out to my boss and others when something was easily predictable and went wrong, and exactly the time scale and the exact manner in which it would, I'd say it would, and it always ends up with, well, hindsight is 2020. Critical analysis is a good skill to have, and one which most people seem to lack. I often tried to warn others in the past and was right about something going wrong 75% of the time-ish, but none ever heed my warnings, so I've since quit. Yeah, I've kind of quit on certain levels, certain places. I just quit saying anything. Sometimes for my own mental health. But like that's why I sort of don't really like if you would if you guys would have met me when I was like in my I don't know late 20s, and I would say like I would still like always be actively voicing my thoughts and opinions about a variety of world matters and politics and culture, society, whatever. Like I was like constantly like yammering about that to anybody that would listen, and yeah, it would take a significant that it was just a significant toll on my sanity. So yeah, yeah. But I mean, it is good to know because I've seen some posts on the server and some stuff that people say on there and concerns that they have, and I'm like sometimes it resonates with me, and I'll just be like, yeah, it's that feeling, and look, they get that feeling I'm talking about, and it's usually another person. I think it's more on the schizo spec of things. Not always, because there's plenty of autists that deal with a similar sort of level of concern, but it's usually directed at a specific matter, like you know, ecosystem related, climate related, so that nature, kind of turn into a
two or
doomer.
three of us,
Huh?
two or three of us, and the random picture of an iPhone
Wait,
that
what?
lasted. Or I said, or a couple of us, and the random picture of an iPhone forever ago that spawned like a 4 hour long discussion.
Yeah, there's also that. Anyway, yeah, sorry guys, it's not the best stream. Like I said, I didn't have much to work with this time. I'll try to come up with a better question next time. Maybe it's something a little more. I don't know. I don't know how to ask. I don't know how to ask this ways questions because I don't understand the mechanism that causes. Maybe like I don't know. I would say it has to do with like like you said, it's just a weird week. Maybe.
Really, that's about all I can say. I know it's been
Yeah,
a
but
ridiculous week for me.
yeah.
I know I've heard that it's been a ridiculous week for several others, and
Yeah.
again, I'm using this as an axiom
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's about all I've got at the moment. But it's been an hour and a half, and there are only two of us here, and at no point has anyone else shut up.
Well, at
Not
least
even
on
shut up.
Twitch.
So,
On Twitch. Well, it's still been about 7 on YouTube. Twitch
well,
is usually dead. Like, there's usually only like 2 or 3 people on Twitch that watch.
I mean, the chat you're actively discussing this with me in.
Oh yeah, they're not. Oh yeah, well both chats are just quiet for the most part.
I don't mean like stream chats. I mean like this voice chat.
Oh, okay, my bad. Got it. Yeah.
No, it's fine. But
Yeah, it's weird.
like
Well,
the fact that The fact that not even Shadow has appeared this time, like,
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, but there's been
This
times
tells
where
me
he just doesn't show up. Like,
this is true, but also usually even when he doesn't, it's not just one person the entire stream, right?
yeah, there's usually a couple people. Even people who see things playing out are stuck in delusion and refuse to act rationally. Feels like being doomed to helplessly witness the carnage. Yeah. Yeah. It's weird. I think sometimes, like, it's like almost like a defense to like not think about these things. And for the average person, because it's too alarming or too scary or too sad. I don't know. But I don't really have a choice personally. I don't feel like I can just ignore stuff. Because that's where my brain goes immediately. So I don't control that part. That's just my cognition, how it functions. But yeah, it can be pretty fucked up. Hmm. Anyway, I'm going to get something to eat. I am a little hungry and I'm driving. Get some water.
Food and water acquisition, huh?
And then probably if I can get a hold of Shadow, play some more Kingdom Hearts 2, since I've never played it. I've been doing it. Play it on Steam or whatever. And then see if I can lift my spirits even temporarily.
Right. Well,
And I hope I hope I'm wrong, and the world, the aspects that I hope will not be incurred do not, and I'll be pleasantly surprised. That would be nice. I would prefer that. I don't get any vindication out of being right about these horrible shit. Like, it's not all right. Peace out, guys. Thanks a lot for being here. Sorry again, not much of a stream for many, but for some, I guess it was something. Maybe some relatability for certain types out there. And if you like this stream or any other, or anything I do, and I will be more active after summer's over. It's so hard when I do anything. I already have enough trouble, but it just destroys my volition. So, please support me on Patreon. Please support me on that kind of stuff's cool. Appreciate it. Helps pay a few little bills when I use it for that. All right. As usual, when day is dark, always remember